Good evening mga kababayan. Ito na naman si Kristan, ang inyong pambansang political vlogger. At ngayong gabi, alam po nyo, parating na si Richard. So abangan na lang nyo yan. Ano? But before we get started, I just wanted to reiterate yung announcement na ginawa ko nung this weekend na tatakbo nga ako bilang konsehal sa District 1 ng Mandaluyong. At hindi lang yun. Kung may mga gustong sumuporta sa akin at gustong maging part ng volunteer group, kasi independent akong tatakbo, I will share with you the Google form sheet for volunteers para kung gusto niyo mag-volunteer, paki-fill up na lang yung form para pwede namin po kayong tawagan pag nangangailangan na po kami ng mga voluntaryo. Okay? Okay. Ano to? Sabi ni Minky Minky, Hi Sir Chris, magbabasa ka ba ng mga comments? Susubukan ko Minky pero alam mo na, paminsan-minsan kung maganda ang usapan at marami na pag-uusapan, um, we usually go with the flow of thought kaya nadi-distract kung nagbabasa. Pero kung may chance kami magbasa, babasahin naman namin yung mga comments. At saka especially kung may mga magagandang comments, sinusubukan namin isama naman yon. So, welcome sa mga viewers natin ngayong gabi. Inaantay na lang natin si Richard at susunod siya in a few minutes to be able to join us in this live stream. Pero before he joins us, alam ba nyo na grabe tong weekend na to, no? Sobrang daming ganap talaga. Aside from the fact na ano tong troll pala? Sinong troll? Sino yung troll dito? Minky, bayaran ka ba bang vlogger? Bakit naman? Bakit ba Divergent? May nasabi ba siyang mali? Hindi ko alam eh. So anyway, yes, Sandra, District 1 ako. So if you're from District 1, please share the word, let everyone know para maiba naman natin at ma-shake up natin yung mundo ng politika, di ba? Kasi alam mo nyo, kahit na supportahan nyo sina Abalos, and I don't have a problem with the Abalosos at yung partido nila na PDP ba sila? Basta yung partido na wala mong problema at kung gusto nyo boto, 5 kandidato dyan, 5 konsehal, okay lang. Pero it's a good idea na may isama kang isa nakakaiba sa lahat para may kukontra naman. Hindi naman lagi lahat oo na lang ng oo, nga na lang ng nga sa mayor, di ba? Para may konting pushback. Kasi pushback is good. Ang pagdedebate ay okay yan dahil makakatulong yan na magpapalakas ng kahit na anong sistema at na kahit na anong demokrasya. Kaya yon, kaya boto nyo kung sino gusto nyo iboto, pero huwag nyo kakalimutan, sasama na lang nyo yung pangalan ko doon. Yun lang. So, anyway, um, pero hindi pa pwede mangampanya kaya ano na lang muna. Basta pinapaalam ko lang sa inyo, natatakbo ko. And number 10 yung sa balota. Really exciting times, guys. Alright, so ito sabi ni Cream O. Good evening, watching from Cebu. Ayan, District 1, no, District 2. District 2 tayo. So, ay, District 1, sorry. District 1, pati ako nalito tuloy eh. District 1 sa Mandaluyong, okay? Ayun, sabi ni Minky, hindi. Fan ako ni Sir Chris kaya nandito ako. Alam mo, actually, may mga trolls din naman na nanonood sa ating mga live stream. But okay lang yon. Kasi sa totoo lang, I'm always willing to challenge kung ano yung mga sinasabi ng kahit sino mang troll. At kahit na sinusuporta mo si Duterte, okay lang yan eh. Alright, so guys, right now, andito na si Mr. Richard Heydarian. What's up, Richard?
Buya ka siya. Kamusta ka na dyan?
Okay naman. The fans are ready, the followers are ready, and everyone's excited
Rolling.
sa
Sige.
pag-uusapan natin ngayong gabi. I will just change alam ko na yun, yung kailangan ko gawin. I'll make you a host so that
Host, bro. Yeah.
we can
Thank you
get
so
the
much.
ball rolling. All
Yes.
right. Here we go.
Imasin natin yung baboy bago
Oo.
katayin. Okay.
Kumusta yung traffic ngayon? Malalata ngayon, ano?
Napapagod na ako, brother. Kailangan natin yumaman para may driver na tayo.
Maging
Kahit
troll na
sports
kaya
car ka
tayo?
pa.
Ano
I
sa
don't
tingin
know.
mo? Maging troll na kaya tayo?
Kaya nga
Malaki
Hindi
bayad
ka
sa troll, di
troll.
ba?
Gusto ko magbukas ng troll farm para
Oy.
manager.
Oh yeah, exactly. Grabe,
Kaya
alam mo,
naman, milyon ang mga usapan dyan.
million nga ang bayad eh. Yun ang
Dollar, dollar. Hindi ng peso.
by the way, alam mo babanggitin ko lang na with regards
Yeah,
to the
bro.
troll farm, alam mo that Congressman Ace Barbers actually already asked the NBI
OMG.
to look into the troll armies kasi nga malala daw talaga yung troll armies ngayon. So that's really interesting na finally ginagawa na nila to. Bakit kaya ngayon lang ginagawa? Tingin mo?
Siyempre, ano pangalan ng congressman? Abante pero umatras bigla. Ngayon lang sila natotroll eh. Dati kami mga kawawa lang natotroll. Ngayon, pag natotroll na sila, bigla, ay, mayroon pala tayong problema. Ganun, ganun talagang ano.
At,
Alright, brother, let's get the ball rolling.
all right, let's do this.
Tayong content natin dyan. Okay. Wait. Alright. Booyakasha! Welcome back everyone sa Usapang Politika. Things can get any hotter, any more, it's getting hot in here. Yan, medyo mga patandang millennial music tayo. Brother, kamusta naman dyan? How are you, brother?
I'm good. Finally, dineklara ko na nga yung aking pagkakandidato bilang konsehal sa Mandaluyong. So, exciting times. At nagpe-prepare na tayo para mangampanya dito. So, marami ng mga gusto mag-volunteer, which is great. Tapos, nakita ko na yung pangalan ko sa balota, number 10. Ayun, so pinaplano na namin lahat ngayon. And sana nga magawa to kasi curious din ako kung kaya ba ng isang vlogger na walang machinery, na walang pera, independent, kung kaya ba niya manalo sa ganitong mundo ng politika.
Shoutout naman dyan kay Speaker Martin Romualdez. Just kidding. Kasi napasin ko, bro. Lahat ng biglang kandidato, pagkausap ko, biglang, shoutout naman dyan kay Speaker. Sabi ko, walang kaya talaga mga tao. Pahamak kayo dyan, pahamak.
Pero alam mo just wanted to add that what's interesting is merong mga iba't ibang mga volunteer groups that reached out to me already, and may isa, as a matter of fact, is a BBM parang youth group, if I remember correctly. Now, what's fascinating for me kasi is siguro nakikita nga ng mga taong bayan natin na hindi naman tayo talaga completely biased, where we just look at the facts and we try to look at everything objectively. Na kung may nagawa naman tama si BBM, give him credit. Pero pag may ginawang mali, we'll criticize. Ganun lang ang tamang
Wait,
demokrasya
excuse me. May ginawang mali si BBM. How dare you? Shoutout naman dyan kay First Lady. Kasi kanina, usapan natin troll farm, di ba? Yung mga troll farm ngayon, galit na galit kay First Lady at Martin Romualdez. I wonder why. Di sila galit masyado 2 years ago or even last year.
Well, depende kasi kung magkano yung bayad eh. Yun lang naman yun eh. Kung mas mataas ang bayad, mas galit sila, di ba? Kasi mas may rason
Millions
silang
and
magalit.
millions.
Pero alam mo ito lang masasabi ko napansin mo nga itong mga troll farm na to na honestly, I don't know if it's just me, pero parang one-sided yung troll farm. Which side? You can figure it out. It's almost always on the
Hmm.
Duterte side, the troll army.
Grabe ka naman.
Do I see any from the BBM army? Not as much. I haven't seen any. The ones that I've seen are legit BBM supporters. Unlike yung kay Duterte, talagang troll army yung nakikita ko. Wala pa akong masyado nakikita na
How dare you, brother?
I know.
Maharlika is fully
Nako!
operate based on conviction. She loves
Wow!
the country, amazing person.
Matagal na sa payroll yun ata, di ba? Opinion ko lang. I'm not saying
Wala
it's
tayong
true or not.
sinasabi, wala tayong sinasabi, pero maganda yung Tesla niya. Nakita mo yung mga videos niya from Tesla niya?
Wow!
Yes,
Are you
naka-open.
serious? May
Yeah.
Tesla
Oh
siya?
yeah,
Ano
naka-Tesla
ba?
siya yung X-model pa, hindi lang yung mga lang, yung mga chipang na entry level, talagang medyo ang ganda ng buhay, 'di ba? Nakita ko para may kaso siya sa US ng staffer. I don't know, I just saw something online. Ewan ko
Oh,
kung totoo
wow.
yan or hindi. Wala tayong sinasabi wala tayong sinasabi. But
Yeah.
brother, speaking of running independent, hindi, actually, I agree with you. Kasi sinasabi rin ni Senator Trillanes sa akin na doon sa Caloocan, marami din siya mga supporters na hardcore DDS. So, pansin na talaga sa local level, bro, hindi ideology ang usapan. Ang usapan, serbisyo talaga, no?
Oh, wow. Yeah, sir, did you say hardcore DDS?
Oh,
Um,
pero gusto nila si Trillanes kasi gusto nila yung maayos na yung situation sa Caloocan. Siyempre,
right.
looking at the basics, pare. Which makes you think also that the support for Digong or even BBM perhaps, a lot of people who supported them were all just desperate for a different form of governance. And siguro ngayon na namulat yung iba. But that's why you shouldn't cancel people just because you don't agree with who they voted for. They have many reasons, including good reasons.
Yes, I agree. I agree. At ngayon na nga, ang maganda nga sa nangyayari ngayon is that mas marami sa ating mga kababayan are learning to have different opinions at hindi sila nagwawala. So nagkakaintindihan tayo na number one. Number two, yung isang interesting dynamics in this administration is the freedom of speech. Nabanggit lang to ni Congresswoman si Roman from saan ba siya ulit? From Cebu ata to eh. Yung nag-apologize siya kay Laila de Lima for being silent nung time ni Digong. Tapos she's apologizing because she didn't stand up for the women, for the marginalized sector, and didn't speak out. Sabi niya kasi nga, nagkaroon ng chilling effect yung nangyari kay Delima at marami sa ating mga kababaihan from the LGBTQ community and other marginalized sectors were silenced talaga. Natakot talaga daw sila. Inaamin niya. And for her to come out with this statement, that's pretty brave na nga to come up with even a statement. And it's very humbling for somebody to admit na nagkamali ako, natakot ako, at nag-apologize ako. Hirap yun. So, kudos
Speaking
to
of
her.
Congresswoman Roman, mukhang she didn't apologize for one more thing. She's not supporting daw the impeachment complaint dahil nirerespeto niya yung opinion ng ating minamahal na Pangulo.
Okay. So,
That's what I love about politicians. When they apologize, you're waiting for the catch. And then, but sorry, I cannot support you now on this naman. In 3 years, I will, pag ng administration, mag-apologize
is she
naman.
up for re-election ba? Bakit kaya sinabi niya yun?
Yeah, I think so. Probably. I mean, wala tayong sinasabi. I'm just saying I was wondering what she's gonna say, and then actually kanina lumabas sa news na she made it clear in sabi niya ang priority dapat natin ibaba ang presyo ng mga bilihin, inflation, as if pushing for rule of law is mutually exclusive. But anyway, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. Actually, maraming disappointed sa kanya back in the day kasi yun nga, they were looking at her as the embodiment of hindi lang mga LGBTQ plus community but also progressive politics among other things. But anyway, brother, I'm not here to really litigate because kanina lang sinabi ko don't cancel people just because they voted for the wrong person. Going back to this, Buya ka siya, brother. I don't know if you caught our RRM with Ronald Llamas the other day, nung Friday, Saturday, na kung saan sinabi namin na there will be an impeachment complaint this week and it will not come from the usual suspects, neither Makabayan bloc nor from the Team Martin Romualdez bloc. It came from Akbayan et al. Anong basa mo dito, brother?
Well, isn't that part of the Makabayan block? Makabayan was also part of it, weren't they? If I remember correctly.
Akbayan and Makabayan are medyo parang like me and sa kabilang channel. I'm just kidding. It's like Manchester United and Manchester City, di ba? May ano yan.
Ah,
Oh, may mga dynamics yan. No, they're very different. And then obviously with the Lima, civil society groups, and of course, also Senator Trillanes, mga Magdalo, sumuporta sila. So Akbayan et
right,
al. So you only
right.
need one congressman to sponsor it. So that was Percy, yung president, longtime president ng Akbayan, and also
Yes. Yeah,
congressman like.
my apologies, you're right. It is the Akbayan block pala, no? Tama that that filed this along with former Senator Laila de Lima, and it's very symbolic that they actually used former Senator Laila de Lima as the one who they chose to be the spokesperson with regards to this impeachment complaint. Now, if I remember correctly, the numbers are 42 counts of impeachable offenses. Was it 42 or 24? I don't remember, but
No, more
basically
than
it was a lot.
yeah. And all grounds except treason. Practically everything.
Yes.
Graft, plunder, abuse of power. The only lang na hindi nila ginamit yung treason. Sabi ko, hintayin natin investigation kay Tatay Digong yung mga kaso niya sa China. Diba? It's like, solusyonan natin. Baka wala akong sinasabi. But yeah, it's incredible that there were dozens of items cited in the complaint. It's 20 plus pages,
Yes.
brother.
And
20
all of
plus
them
pages.
all of them are legitimately legitimate reasons for impeachment talaga. Kaya yung one thing that was interesting with the timing was if you remember, just was it yesterday or was it this morning? Hindi ko maalala to eh kung yesterday this morning nagkaroon ng Presscon yung kung mga kongreso natin, mga young guns na wala pa daw usapang impeachment pero kung may gusto mag-file, nasa kanila yon. May mga citizens group pero within the majority block sinabi nga nila na walang magfa-file, wala pa na pag-usapan. Pero nga ito na yung Akbayan block nga that actually went ahead with this impeachment complaint. So it was interesting the timing of having that Presscon, let me move back a bit with BBM first saying that he is encouraging, requesting Congress not to file the impeachment. Pero pag tinignan mo yung text message, as I talked about in the video I did, parang weird nung text message na yun, na parang hindi legit at saka walang recipient. Kumbaga, walang sinabing recipient si Anthony Taberna or anyone. And seriously, he could have only sent that to somebody, a member of Congress, di ba? Pero nobody in the Congress ever said, it was me who he sent it to. Wala, zero. So it was very peculiar. And would you really call him BBM? I think if the president's that close, you probably call him Bongbong. Or I don't know, parang weird. Everything about it was so weird, even the typographical error, ang dami. So that was the first move. The second chess move was the Congress na biglang nagpa-presscon regarding the impeachment. And right after the Congress did the press con, boom! Few hours later, filed na ang akbayan. And with former Senator Laila de Lima in the forefront. Uh, was it intentional? Hard to say, but looks like the pieces are all moving, and there's some grand coordination happening in this chess game we're seeing right now. That's what my read is so far on what's happening. Um, Here's a question I have for you, Richard. Tingin mo ba right now is a good time to file this? Ayan.
Well, first of all, fantastic intervention. First of all, I had some problem with President Marcos Jr.'s intervention kasi obviously it makes sense for him na dumistansya na siya at to wash off his hands and all of that, and also to say that if ever something happens, wala akong kinalaman dyan, di ba? And at the same time, of course, the numbers are not there in the Senate, obviously, which is something that we'll go back to very shortly. And I think genuinely Marcos was worried kasi mukhang na-spook yung mga economic managers natin na this was really bad headline. It was bad enough and you don't want to fuel the fire. So bad yan sa economy, sa investment. Our currency is already weak at almost 59 to $1, etc. So siguro he was in the de-escalation mode, and not to mention with Sara Duterte saying, eto na, nagpapa-victim na siya. It was his way of disarming the other side. Oh, huwag kayong magdrama, wala nga akong ginagawa eh. But having said that, bro, my problem kasi with the intervention of BBM, and that's where I get to answer your question is, sana hindi niya sinabi categorically. Sana sinabi niya, if the impeachment was because specifically of the assassination against me, then I would say rather not do it. Idaan na lang natin sa korte. So,
Right.
but he categorically kasi said something against impeachment na kunyaring leak daw. I think all of us know hindi naman talagang leak yan. And then yung may sinabi pa siya na, di ba, tinanong sa kanya, do you think meron pang, pwede kayo mag-reconcile? Never say never. So my sense is, 2 days, 3 days earlier, you're all guns blazing, I will fight on, hindi mo pwede ba? I just felt medyo sablay, to be honest. Medyo sablay.
Yeah.
And think that BBM already has this image problem, which is he's seen as a weak leader, at least by some people, or yun yung line of attack. I think it doesn't help him if he seems diffident. So I think there's a way for you na pwede dumistansya and to wash off your hand with the timing and candidates being better. Now, speaking of your question, ako, tama yung sinabi ni Congressman Percy kanina, and then I kept on going back to this. Unang-una, it has to start somewhere, right? So obviously, with President saying that openly, and some of the congressmen also looking at their own interests, maybe they don't want to be the tall grass, right? They don't want to be the first one. So unfortunately, it fell on other people who are willing to take the risk to do it. Pangalawa, I don't think anything will happen if you don't get the ball rolling, in a sense that you will never have the numbers if you don't even try to push it in a certain direction. And tama naman sinabi ni Senator De Lima a few days ago, which is, ang usapan naman dito is graft and corruption and abuse of power. Kung talaga may basihan yan, hindi dapat tinitingnan kung politically feasible or not. Dapat titignan kung dapat ba mag-file ng impeachment to begin with. So it was a principled position. And Congressman Percy was saying a while ago na dahil sa tingin namin malakas yung ebidensya, eventually it will create the numbers that it needs to create. So the first thing we have to watch for is if there'll be 103. I think kailangan 1/3 for this to move up to the Senate, and then let's see how it goes from there. Pero if hindi makuha yung 1/3 kaagad sa Kongreso, that means marami pa rin sa Kongreso na hinintay pa rin na masayin yung Senado. Now, speaking of scenarios forward, I'll quickly go through this, and I want to pick your mind on this. I think in an ideal world for a BBM type of leader, ang gusto nila is, let's call it slow burn strategy. Isolate, marginalize, let Dutertes make fool of themselves. So kahit hindi sila ma-impeach or anything, they're gonna be a pariah, right? Then the second strategy would be sampan mo na maraming kaso, ANBI mo, impeachment mo, ano mo, lahat man, and I hope that eventually that will create enough threshold, critical mass para you turn things around. No? Meaning yung mga ibang senador na nagdadalawang isip, parang, kailangan natin sumama, ito na yung solution. And then the third option is, this is what Justice Carpi was telling me the other day, is the accelerator model, kumbaga. If you say yes to ICC and ICC tomorrow issues the warrant of arrest, that is the lock that will unleash the typhoon, right? Unleash the torrent of tsunami. And from there, anything is possible. So obviously, each of these options have a downside. Yung slow burn, maybe it will not work. Maybe at some point, the Dutertes will make a comeback. Yung mga sampakan ng marami, spaghetti, what will stick, that also may not work because after elections, baka ibang senador, may iba nang iniisip, thank you BBM, pero hindi ka namin kailangan simula 2020. And then with the ICC one, it also raises its own question, intervention, sovereignty, blah, 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 na narrative ng mga Duterte. So there's no sure shot here, brother. That's why at the end of the day, you just have to do what is right. That's my point.
Yeah. But sa tingin ko nga, maybe BBM with his pronouncement na hindi nga niya susuportahan yung impeachment, maybe lang yun na nga, it's the double speak. It's really just political maneuvering at the end of the day. I actually think that the reasoning of yung baka ma-affect yung economy and investor confidence is a weak argument because if he actually portrayed strength like he did, that would give better investor confidence. Na, oy, malakas ang leader. He can hold this thing together. Ang nakakatakot is having VP Sara right there at the cusp, always ready and waiting and wanting to be president. Yun ang nakakatakot na political instability if Sara becomes president because we all know na may iba siyang agenda at iba ang kanyang political leanings. Not only that, political alliances. So immediately, yan ang mas nakakatakot for investors versus Marcos just saying, this is it. Bam, let's do it. Strong statement will gain the confidence that they're saying we could lose by him making a divisive statement. It's not a divisive statement. By saying na mali yung ginawa ni Sara and by saying that that kind of a threat has no place in society and I will not stand for it. And yes, if impeachment is one of the avenues, then let it be. And he could have said instead, pero ang Kongreso natin ay independent, co-equal branch of government. Nasa sa kanila yan, hindi sa akin. Kung ako, pwede sabihin, kung sa akin, baka sayang ng oras, pero bahala ang Kongreso dyan, I will let them do what they're mandated to do. Tapos, that could have been a stronger, better statement. Because by showing na the co-equal branches of government are functioning, mas lalakas ang institusyon natin at ang demokrasya and ang investor confidence. So that's on that angle. Now, you mentioned, di ba, yung pagsasampa nga ng impeachment complaint today, end of the year, we have the elections in May, tama ba yung timing or hindi? At kung makukuha ba yung boto? Alam mo sa akin, if Congress is not able to get the votes needed to be able to progress with this impeachment, nakakahiya for Congress after lahat ng ginawa ng Quadcom, ginawa ng ng Committee on Accountability, after all of the investigations and all of the revelations, hindi nila itutupad to, then Congress looks weak, Congress looks indecisive, and Congress looks like a bunch of wimps. Yun ang kalalabasan nila. At makikita mo dito na politics lang talaga to, hindi na prinsipyo ang pinag-uusapan. Dahil sobrang obvious naman sa mga nakikita nating ebidensya that Sara committed impeachable offenses. It is undeniable. Only an idiot or a DDS, die-hard, religious, fanatic supporter will even not see na may maling ginawa si Sara. No matter how you look at it, kahit ganong karaming besong bali-balik na rin to, talagang impeachable yung mga nagawa niya. So, yun pa lang dapat papasa na to sa Kongreso. Ngayon, Senado, that's a different story. Alam naman natin na
No,
yung
but
Senate...
that's my point, brother. Hindi ba the way out for the Congress is to say, we are doing our job. Ang sagaba lang dito yung Senado. So, shift the pressure to the Senate. Actually, not Senate as a whole, but a couple of individuals out there who are not doing their job. I mean, given na yung bato and bongo, but may mga iba dyan na, hello, yung iba nga,
Yep.
tumatakbo pa nga sa admin ticket tapos walang ginagawang matino on the Duterte issue. So, what I'm saying is that actually Congress has a way out of this by putting the pressure and blame on the Senate and say,
Yep.
we're doing our part. Kayo ang problema dyan. So, I see a way out there. And I completely agree with you on the Marcos thing. My point is, ano bang point ni Marcos? Huwag tayong magulo. Hayaan lang natin manggulo lang yung mga Duterte. Speaking of that, what is your read of the people power revolution nung nangyaring weekend? Parang may
Well,
drone shot na ba, bro? May drone footage
yeah,
na
well, alam mo, yung people power revolution na sinusubukan nila, it is so ironic, di ba, that they're calling for that. But at the same time, ito yung interesting, is that you see the mindset of the Dutertes na they're using a lot of extrajudicial means, and they're always used to extrajudicial means to be able to gain the upper hand, to be able to oppress, to be able to abuse, and to be able to subvert the law. Okay? And that's where the problem lies. I mean, think about all the moves that happened with VP Sara threatening to kill the president, first lady and speaker of the house. Then Digong saying, ano ba yung army, AFP natin, kailan ba kayo magsusuportahan pa ba nyo itong bangag na to, drug addict? Then at the same time, right after that, boom, nagkaroon ng so-called people power. Please, let's not even use people power. It's a small group na binayaran, kawawa nga, para magkano binayad sa kanila? Tagpa 500 lang ata eh. Tapos,
Huwag
youth
tayong
violence.
ganyan. Nag-message sila sa akin para sa pagkain lang naman daw at siya na-hurt daw yung... Yeah. Kasi may shinare ako. I don't know if you saw that video, yung
Yep.
tumatawa sila, binigyan ng envelope. Na-hurt daw feelings nila. Parang, wow, sorry parang, I was just asking a question.
Yeah, well, alam mo, sa akin, sure, nabigyan kayo ng konti pampagkain and everything. But the problem with that lang, that line of thinking, is that kung totoong ando doon kayo out of conviction, you wouldn't even accept it eh. It would be an insult. Pero naintindihan ko, not everyone probably
Oo
has
naman.
the
Yeah.
privilege
Ako.
to be able to do that. Fine, I
Malaking
understand.
bagay ang 500 pesos if ever true. I'm not
Sure.
saying it's 500 is a world of difference for some people.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand. Pero you want people power? My God, I'll give you an example of people power na hindi nga revolution, pero grabe. Yung during the election, Lenny Robredo. Do you know how many people showed up there and instead of asking for money, they were giving water. They were preparing food and giving it away to everyone. Nagkaisa talaga yung mga mamamayan natin noong time. It was very interesting. Now again, yung nangyari dito for me lang, it's really embarrassing kasi pag tinanong mo sa kanila, ano ba pinaglalaban nyo, hindi din nila kayo masasagot ng maayos. Kasi kung ang pinaglalaban mo ay isang personalidad, mahirap panindigan yung mga nagagawa nilang mali. Kaya mahirap pangakuha ng suporta para pumunta dyan sa EDSA na umuulan para sabihin na sinusuportahan ko tong taong to. Imbis na sabihin mo sinusuportahan mo taong to, pag sinabi mo sinusuportahan mo yung prinsipyo, may pinaglalaban ka, mas malakas yun. Kaya this so-called revolution fizzled out immediately. Pero, I mean, I guess you can't blame the Dutertes for trying. Meron silang budget. Ang laki ng pera na kukuha nila from confidential funds na nagpupunta kay Mary Grace Piatos. Malay mo, Mary
Akala ko
Grace
China,
Piatos
Tots.
funded it. Ha?
Wala.
Yung ano pa, China or drugs. I mean, maraming mga posibilidad.
Wala akong sinasabi. Joke lang. Yum. Ito bro, ito masasabi ko sa'yo. I think one of the most, actually lucky tayo nangyari yan. One of the puzzling things to me is Duterte never created a solid movement.
Yep.
No? Titignan mo lahat ng mga populists. Narendra Modi has a millions BJP party. He has the
Yep.
RS at the core of that. Erdogan has the AKP. Again, hundreds of thousands of chapters and followers and all of that. Trump now has a MAGA movement. My
Yep.
goodness. Well, pouring millions and millions of dollars every month into his legal cases, into his campaign. So actually, kung titingnan mo, Duterte is one of the few populists out there na hindi ko lang dala ng katamaran, katrapuhan, or lack of vision. He never built a solid party, solid movement, walang chapter per city. That was actually the plan of his original campaign manager, yung kilusan para sa pagbabago, no? But this was allegedly vetoed by Bongo, who thought just through transactional politics kaya nilang gawin yan. And now this is coming back to bite them. And we're
Yeah.
lucky. At napansin mo, bro, in the 6 years of Duterte, he was never able to replicate yung nangyari sa Meeting de Avance. Because yung Meeting de Avance talaga ni Digong, that was really something. Wow! Talagang pang drone footage. After that, puro mga nangyari. And alam mo yung Duterte youth, yung
Yep.
7 lang sila nag-rally
Yep.
doon
Yep.
sa Supreme Court. Like, it was a clown show. I mean, even if allegedly the ILG was busting in people and all, kunting ulan na, wala na sila. Nung time ng when Duterte was calling for nationwide martial law. So I think this is one of the paradoxes, and at the same time, we're lucky na Duterte never managed to fully institutionalize and create a movement out of his very, very dangerous, bloody form of populism. Otherwise, yari tayong lahat because walang pangtapat anyone. Siguro makabayan lang, but not even them, di ba? So,
Yep.
this is why we're seeing what we're seeing na nakakatawa lang yung mga ginagawa nila. So, you're right. Maybe they have money. Maybe they have whatever. Pero hindi ito genuine movement, pare. Wala silang warm bodies eh.
Yeah. And alam mo, the reason they don't have the warm bodies and they don't have that machinery that
Except
they
Davao.
should have,
No, sorry. Except in Davao. Ibang usapan yan. But I'm talking
right.
about wide. Yeah.
Pero nationwide, alam mo kung bakit wala yan? Yung parang organizational ability, that machinery that can push them. Alam mo kasi, tignan mo ba naman lahat ng mga tao around Duterte? They're not very smart. We've talked about this. Look at the people that Sara surrounds herself with. They're not very smart. There are a lot of attack dogs, loyalists, but mali nga yung word, loyalists is for BBM supporters. Pero mga ano sila, mga DDS supporters na talagang wala
Die hard,
masyadong
die hard, die hard, die
mga
hard.
diehard na wala nito eh. Sa totoo lang I mean,
Uy,
honestly,
grabe ka naman.
if you're
Grabe na.
smartest, I'm sorry,
No.
I'm gonna say it. If your smartest person in the room is Panelo, that's not that smart. If your smartest person in the room is Harry Roque, my God, you're gonna need a lot more than that. So, pag makita mo
Hindi.
yung mga...
Smart si Harry Roque. Medyo mali lang yung direction, diba?
Okay, sige,
Yung mali
fine.
lang yung direction.
You're,
Ganito na lang,
ano...
bro. He's so smart. Yung manhunt sa kanya, hindi pa rin nag-produce ng result. I mean,
Alam mo,
akala mo, nag-live siya everyday, kasabay pa tayo, inagawan pa tayo ng audience. Kaya tinanong ko yung General Torre, kaya matapos ng manhunt na yan kay Harry Roque. No.
yeah,
Bro, but okay, let me push back slightly on that. Ang point ko is, kasi none of the ace player wanted to work for Digong, let's be honest. Kasi sino
yon,
image mo eh. So actually,
yon.
they were left with the gallery of rogues, mga Panelo, sino yung may peluka, yung Justice Secretary, mga ganyan, mga gallery of rogues.
Yep.
So we're also lucky na the best minds did not go defect to Duterte. Kasi that happened with Marcos, di ba? Best professors, UP, ganun. Lahat sila, Marcos senior sila eh. So
Yeah.
we're also lucky that Duterte did not get the defection of the creme de la creme of this country.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah. So it's a combination of two things then. It's number one, siguro ayaw nga niya ng ayaw niya ng pushback. He wants yes men and then he got yes men. Number one. Number two, yun na nga, that the people that are the best minds did not want to work for him nor did they want to be a part of his government. Although I do know some people na matitino na sumali sa gobyerno ni Duterte nung panahon niya and they did it but they're very nice, honest to goodness Christians na ganun pero sumali sa ano niya sa gobyerno niya and they did naman a good job pero they didn't agree with his policies but they were just doing their job pero that's few and far in between. BBM's administration now is much more diverse and there's a lot of good strong personalities in there and I think it's because nga mas may machinery behind BBM. It's not just him eh.
BBM,
Yeah.
BBM. Shoutout
Pe-
naman dyan kay Speaker Martin. Para matroll tayo. Sorry, bro.
Pero tanong ko lang yun nga naalala ko nung nabanggit mo sa akin to, yung napansin ko nga na tama ka doon, na wala nga siyang parang attack dog. Na tulad ni Duterte may attack dog siya. Ay, pero meron na pala ngayon. Meron pala. Kung si Duterte may Marcoleta, ito si BBM may Larry Gadon.
Ay, akala ko Mark Gambo. Just
No,
kidding. Just
Larry
kidding.
Gadon.
Joke.
Nakita mo 'yon, 'di ba? Nag-file ng nag disbarment case now against sa VP Sara Kasi ang point niya is, ako dinisbar nyo, kailangan nyo siya i-disbar.
Yun
What
nga
she
sinabi,
did is
wait lang,
worse.
hindi ba siya yung na-disbar? Parang, anong credibility niya?
Yeah, pero I guess the point he's trying to make is she's committing a bigger crime in terms of as a legal professional than I am. So if I get disbarred, she should get disbarred. And then
Good
after
point,
that,
good point.
si Digong daw ifa-file din niya ng disbarment case daw. So it's interesting. So that's his attack dog. Larry Gadon. Pero of course, nakikita mo Marcos is distancing himself from Larry Gadon kasi he's not the kind of guy you want to be, seen with or heard talking to. Although I saw Christian Esguerra just did an interview with Larry Gadon. Kaya ako natatawa eh.
Ay, talagang yung kabilang channel, talagang ano. Honestly, I'm always wondering what's really going on there. Is it because, kasi nung election naman, di ba? I mean, alam natin who was campaigning for who, but is this the posh side of BBM na parang siguro nandidiri siya dito sa mga low-life trolls na iba dyan, kaya lumalayo siya. And then he also lost si ano, yung asawa ni Tony G.
Oh yeah. Si ano, yung what's the name?
Yeah, exactly. Si Paulo, anong pangalan niya? Basta yung director na yan, di ba? So, I think he could have been the Steve Bannon. Well, na Steve Bannon din siya kasi natanggal siya eventually. So, I think he could have had a bunch of operator, media people who could have taken. And then for some reason, nawala. Nawala rin siya niyang Vic Rodriguez. But, good
Right.
riddance. So, I think, yun nga, hindi niya na-replace, hindi niya na-replenish yung ranks niya. I mean, he has a bunch of people like Bersamin, a very, technical, judge type of person, Supreme Court Chief Justice, and then bodies like Lagdemeos, mga ganun. But yun nga, wala siyang Bongo wala siyang Ronald Llamas di ba? And when you're up against Duterte's, probably you need 10 Ronald Llamas or like 20 Bongos, right? Kasi parang, Paul Soriano, sorry, Paul Soriano, siyang
There
galing
you
to.
go.
Si Paul, so I think something really, yun yung problema. Wala siyang bench. Hindi deep yung bench ni BBM. And
Yeah.
someone was telling me, hindi mo rin may sisi because Marcoses were not a national force until recently, right? Marginalized sila eh. I mean, of course, sa amin, sa Ilocos, they were a big force. But at the national level, hindi masyado eh. So they had to rely essentially on two groups. Mga bata ni President Arroyo at mga bata ni President Digong. And I think that's why, nung nagkaroon ng hidwaan and all of that, Marcos always struggled to replenish his ranks. And not to mention, with the exception of Senator Trillanes, I don't think there are many smart, brave guys from traditional opposition who are openly okay with working with BBM. Actually, I was wondering if by some chance I bump into BBM and there's an event, and if there's a picture, ano bang dapat facial expression ko para hindi ako makancel or something like that? Like that. And what if BBM is smiling and then I'm like that? It will be rude, diba? So, kaya I was glad, Ma'am Lenny, said something like, it's not about BBM, it's about the office of the president, respect for the, so at
Yeah.
least may excuse na tayo just in case. So, what I'm saying is that medyo may personal problem talaga, may personnel problem na kulang talaga siya ng the right lieutenants to pull off what. So feeling ko undermanned siya. Kaya others are stepping up. Trillanes is stepping up. Akbayan is stepping up. Well, in a way, you and I are stepping up to fight against the trolls and all those bayaran out there. But it is what it is. I mean, I think this creates also new space for new voices to come out and for us to also rediscover our footing. Ikaw, anong tingin mo dyan, bro?
Well, for me naman, regarding yung mga, like having the lieutenants, the beauty of what BBM is doing with his presidency is that he's allowing all the different factions to move freely. Yeah, and that becomes his lieutenants, if you want to look at it that way. Like the Franz Castros, the Kabataan Bloc, yung mga ganyan, those become his lieutenants. And those are tentacles of government that are working. He's allowing the different tentacles to work properly. The fact that he has Speaker Romualdez there, who's a very powerful figure in Congress. And then he's got the Joel Chuas. And then the Ace Barbers, yung mga ganyan, on Congress alone. And then you've got the Risa Santos. So you see that they're not allies. But by allowing the opposition to do their work, he actually is empowering them to be able to protect him from the real enemy. Parang ganon. And that's the good thing about it. So I think that's more strategic and I think it's better because now you've got attacks coming from all sides. Hindi lang one singular point. Kasi si Duterte is more of galing sa kanya and bam, babanatan niya kahit sinong tumanggi. Very authoritarian yung dating. Marcos is like his campaign slogan, unity, di ba? He really tried to do that, to do it in a way where, sige, it's an attack from all sides. Let's go. Let's make it happen. And even each side are not going to always agree. But at least there's always that dissenting opinion that creates for a stronger ideology in a way that helps the country. Yun yung maganda sa nangyayari ngayon. So that's my take on it. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's good. Because nga of that, now that's why you got this impeachment filed today. And that's what makes this impeachment quite interesting in my opinion. So,
Yeah, I
I
mean, let's
want,
see, let's see.
hindi, pero I
Ako
wanted
kasi,
to, ano yun, ano yun?
no. I mean, I see your argument na let 1,000, flowers bloom or something like that, but
Oh,
my only counter to that would be there should still be a center of gravity. There should
hmm.
be gravity for two reasons. One, unfortunate, nasanay tayo with Digong na authoritarian leader. And unfortunately, marami pa rin sa ating mga kababayan, hinahanap pa rin kamay na bakal. So I think it's important for Marcos not to look weak. And pangalawa, yun nga lahat ng mga, di ba in economics, the term of principal agent problem. What if yung mga lieutenants may sariling pag-iisip at may sariling interest, mamaya nagsariling negosyo na. So I think there still should be a national vision and organizing principle. Kaya doon kailangan mo yung Bongo Doon mo kailangan yung Ronald Llamas to make sure itong vectors na to don't go rogue. That still there's a center of gravity and there's a direction to this. Kasi brother, ang worry ko dito, if you were from that side, is baka mamaya 1,000 flowers bloom and then in the end, wala rin siyang denouement, right? And Duterte's make a comeback. That's not impossible. So I think but again, you're right in a sense that who knows? Maybe in 5 to 6 months, I will be proven wrong and say, see, Digong was the good Machiavellian silent killer. Yeah, I'm open to that possibility. I'm more than happy to be wrong on some issues. But at the same time, feeling ko talaga, I'm hearing from too many people, from diplomatic committee, business committee, whatever, even people who work in the government, na friendly kay BBM, medyo kulang daw yung center of gravity, which makes me think, brother, this has to do with the fact that he also knows my stigma kasi. Because he's a Ferdinand Marcos. He's always probably a little bit, medyo parang may
Yep.
handicaps in that sense. Self-imposed handicap, if I can tell
Um,
you that. But I'd rather have him, but I'll be clear, I'd rather have this, kung saan you and I can feel there's a space, than the Duterte or some Epal style of president. So I also see where you're coming from. As Senator De Lima put it, there's democratic space now, which is also the
yeah,
term I use separately. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder yung mga narinig mo mga usap-usapan with the business community or the political community or even the foreign dignitaries na kulang yung center of gravity. Well, you know what? That's the beauty of a democracy. And you know what? Probably some of these foreign dignitaries are from countries that doesn't have a center of gravity in that sense, where the democracy works. And some of them even have a parliamentary system where it's actually spread across the different areas. And that's what makes it for stronger countries, where the government becomes invisible in a way. And that's what I hope for our government to become. When you have a center of gravity, it calls for big government, more government interventions. And what's happening in this case with BBM's presidency is because there's no center of gravity. It's allowing the democratic institutions to function. Yun yung maganda doon. And even if I don't agree with a lot of these senators that are clowns, pero at least tumatakbo sila ng somehow may sariling isip. Kahit papaano, at least on the optics it looks like that. I don't know if it really is, pero on the optics it looks like parang ganun yun. And even Congress at Senate nagbabanggaan. Okay yun. That is actually what makes us stronger. So for some of these people to say na hindi, dapat may konting anong word ang hinahanap nyo? Pagka-authoritarian?
No,
Para
I think the
tama
term is
ka.
decisive. I think decisive is more the term there. But ako kasi bro, I agree with you. I mean, mga Amerikano, they have no moral authority to tell us anything, or I can go on and on with many countries. But there's one big difference, brother. Their presidents are not up against the Duterte. You know what I'm saying? Ang problem ko kasi dito is when you're up against Duterte, so are willing to burn down the house to get
Yep.
their way,
Yep.
you may need a little bit of center of gravity. So I agree with
Ah.
you, but now you see where I'm coming from. Of course, as a Democrat, I want decentralization, diffusion of power. It's good for me, it's good for my country. Ang problema kasi dito is, the problem is staring you in the face. And that problem is the Dutertes. Kaya nga, feeling ko, that's why you need to counter that first. May yin and yang kang kailangan gawin. At yun yung medyo worry ko na we might not be able to do what we have to do if walang clarity on the center of gravity. But having said that, I mean, I'm more than happy to be proven wrong on this point down the road. I'm not invested in seeing BBM fail. I'm invested in seeing our government succeed, because the success of government is the success of people, unless they're against the constitutional order. But I want to ask you something, brother. Kamusta yung mga Quadcom hearing? Kasi last week, natabunan kasi to eh. Natabunan ng mga impeachment issues. There was a hearing as we speak. Trillanes was there, very long conversation. May footage pa dun sa yung Las Cañas with Christian Esquera, etc. How are the Quadcom hearings? And then, are there more to come? Ano yung alam mo dun sa mga mechanics of the hearings, brother?
So they did the last Quadcom hearing, and they were focusing more on the importation of drugs and how it happened, and the role of customs. And this is the big revelation is, well, it's not much of a revelation. Everyone knows the most corrupt agency in the Philippines is what? O, tingnan natin kung ano sabihin ng ating mga viewers. Ano ba yung pinaka-corrupt na ahensya sa buong Pilipinas? So yan, mabibigyan kayo ng premyo pag mahulaan nyo to. Obviously, it's the customs. And nung nagkwento na si Mark Taguba kung gaano kalala ang korupsyon, man, it will blow your mind. Okay, I'll just give you an idea, Richard. For every container Mark Taguba brought in, every container, he has to pay 170,000 per container. Binibigay niya sa maraming ahensya, iba't ibang ahensya, iba't ibang mga direktor, mga commissioner, marami yan. May 10,000 dito, 10,000, 5,000 lahat. Kahit na janitor, may makukuha yan. And then, this is the kicker. He is able to bring in about 100 a week. 100 containers, totaling 17 million a week. Times 52 weeks, 844, hindi, tama ba yun? 800 basta. It's 844 million pesos na kumakalat just for one broker. Sabi, ilan ng brokers? Ilan kayong mga brokers? There's hundreds of brokers. As a matter of fact, I looked at the number the other day. Parang pumapasok sa Pilipinas is like 6,000 containers a day. It's a ridiculous number. Ganun ka-corrupt ang customs, ganun kalaki na nakukuha sa ating bansa. So, yun yung malaking problema na nakita nila. Ngayon, drugs was one of the problems. Smuggled items is the other one. And then you look at the money lost to corruption because of how corrupt the customs is. So, in-offer ni Jinky Luistro na dapat talaga i-overhaul na tong customs. Again, this Quadcom, right now, they're doing their job. They didn't get much of the ratings last Friday dahil natabunan nga because of the news about yung pag-announce yung Presscon ni BBM and other things that took over the news that week. So medyo mababa yung ratings sila on the TV show Quadcom series. Pero the message is still there.
Ratings talaga.
Ratings habol ng ano? Ratings habol. I'm telling you, lahat ng politiko ngayon, habol ay ratings. Nakikita nila kung ano yung viewership ng mga live stream nila. They actually tout the live stream viewerships. They count it. They know exactly what it is. And they know that last Friday, mahina siya. Pero importante pa rin yung mga na-discover nila dito, especially about customs. One thing lang that Congress should do at this point. Honestly, they have all the information they need. They have to now be able to show that Quadcom was not just a show, na merong talagang action na mangyayari after this. Kasi kung wala silang nagawa na legislation to be able to move forward and protect the Filipinos from all of the crime and the criminal activities that happened, then walang kwenta tong Quadcom. They will lose their credibility. So that's where we're at. Dami na. So let's see. Next week, next week maghihiring na ata yung Public Accountability Committee with regards to the OVP budget. Pero dahil nga si Sara ay hindi naman pumunta sa NBI, baka daw titignan daw lang kasi they want to give way to Sara going to the NBI. Pero I don't even think she's really gonna go. So there, that's my take on the Quadcom and then the Committee on Public Accountability.
So, sa tingin mo, lalaos na yan or magte-taper off na itong Quadcom na to? I mean, after with now the impeachment file, I think the focus should shift, no?
Yeah, the focus
People
does
shut
shift because the Quadcom was not about impeachment. Eh. The Quadcom was about the EJK, Pogos, West Philippine Sea, and the drug war. So yun yung focus nila. And right now, the focus has shifted to the OVP's confidential fund budget. But alam mo, if I were the Quadcom, sige, if we're talking ratings, kasi they all want ratings. Natatalo na sila ni Chairman Joel Chua sa kanyang Public Accountability Committee dahil mainit na usapan yun ngayon eh. Pero kaya nila ibalik yung init sa kanila if they're able to first reveal new evidence, shocking evidence, evidence that's gonna really make other people that support Duterte really turn turn the tables and want to run away from him as far as
But
possible.
what
Kung may
could that
magawa silang
be?
ganun.
Pero yun nga, bro, yun nga I wonder, like, first of all, have we not exposed enough for an average voter na hindi fanatic to turn their and if talagang fanatic, I don't think there's really hope, right? Kasi kaya I'm wondering, like, how many more hearings do we need? Kasi baka maumay ng tao eh.
Yeah.
No offense, no offense.
Yeah, at this point, I think you're right eh. I think we're at the point of saturation eh. Na busog na yung mga tao, nakita nila yung kailangan na makita, narinig din kailangan nilang marinig. At siguro dapat i-wind down na nga nila to at gumawa na sila ng right steps to be able to move forward. That is how they can reclaim the top rating spot. Pag magawa nila yung legislation na magpapakita na talagang ginawa nila trabaho nila, they're gonna be able to do it. You know what they should do? I'll tell you yung with regards to the Public Accountability Committee na medyo malakas pa ngayon, the type of legislation they need to do is take out the confidential fund for all. For all. Pag ginawa nila yon, tataas ang ratings sa itong mga to. Kung sino yung congressman na yan, mananalo yan sa distrito niya pag ginawa niya yan. So I'm saying it, kung gusto nyo itag itong mga kongresista na to, itag nyo sila para marinig nila itong mensaheng to. So pag ginawa niya yun, tinanggal yung confidential funds, the president, baba mo back to 500 million o a billion. At least not 4.5 billion. Kasi hindi mo naman talaga magagastos yan eh. Kasi may army ka, may military ka, may police ka, andyan lahat eh. So just put it at a level where it's actually at the right amount. Okay, next. For the Quadcom naman, yun. Right now, they're doing the right steps in terms of what they plan for legislation. Pero may ipin ba yung legislation na yan? Yung number one kailangan lagawin is for customs. Yan. Pangalawa, yung mga different agencies, including immigration, PSA, BIR, yung mga ganyan, kailangan ma-check na yan. Even land and SEC. So, kailangan lang gumawa ng tamang legislation to be able to make sure na hindi na mangyayari yung mga ganitong kalokohan. Okay, Richard, ito pa. With regards to EJK. So, the question now is, what do you do when there are rogue cops, a rogue president, and also, is this something that should be in consideration? The death penalty? At this point. So yun ang mga kailangan tignan talaga natin and they have to see the pulse of the people with regards to this. I don't know how people are right now eh. Gusto ba nila ng death penalty? Hindi kasi nung panahon ni Duterte parang gusto nila ng death penalty pero walang due process eh. So yung bang gusto ng tao makita? I don't know. But that is where they should go.
Gusto nila death penalty pero biglang nung pinapasa pero not for corruption, for drugs lang. So
Ayun,
kailangan
exactly. Weird, ano?
nag-oppose no? I mean, I absolutely agree with you. There has to be deliverables. Kasi kung walang deliverable yun at saka purong lang, ratings show lang ito, maging cynical lang tao. So I think you're right. You know, this is what made Senator Lacson such a beloved person once upon a time, di ba? Before yung
Oh,
whole PMRC episode niya. But which is, he didn't get the pork barrel, di ba? And that gave him a certain degree of authority and gravitas when he questioned corruption. So sana itong mga congressmen yan, this will be their moment to, to have the moral
yeah.
high ground na, 'di ba? And they have to deliver something. At least yung kay 'di ba? Kay Riza Ontiveros, you followed also, 'di ba? Tapos
Yep.
na. So officially wala na yan. So it's now not wala na yan in the sense that it's actually now forwarded to the channels. Can you update people doon sa Senado yung mga hearings na matino? The
Yeah.
very few ones.
Yes, so the last hearing of Senator Riza Hontiveros was last week, and that last hearing with regards to the Pogos has concluded, and it concluded with a whimper. Mababa yung ratings noon, wala masyadong nanood noon. At hindi lang yon, wala ding mga special guests, wala nang mga honorable mentions. As a matter of fact, nag-iisa si Riza on the last episode. Lahat ng mga senador umalis dahil nakita nila, wala na, tapos na. Yung palabas, naiwan si Risa mag-isa on that last Senate hearing. I feel really bad. Pero you know what? I love her conviction. Dahil tumayo siya doon, umupo in this case, and humarap siya and closed the session with the right recommendations, and the resource people were there basically summarizing everything of what happened and what we should do at this point and who are the real players. They created their matrix, a proper matrix with backed up evidence. Hindi lang haka-haka to. And you saw how everything was interconnected talaga to Duterte. And that's what made it strong. Now, then the real work happens after. If you can come up with legislation that really makes it better for Filipinos na hindi na tayo masasakupan ng mga dayuhan tulad na nangyayari ngayon, then we'll see what really how effective Senator Hontiveros really is. Again, that's the same challenge with Congress that I give to Senator Hontiveros. You know, I'm a fan. I think Senator Hontiveros is doing a great job. But let's see the legislation she's going to be able to come up with. But, ito lang yung pinagkaiba. Remember kasi ang committee ni Senator Hontiveros ay children and women's rights. So, the legislation she's going to be doing is in aid of that marginalized group that she's heading. Yun eh. But she'll probably do something with regards to the other agencies as well. So, yun yung pinagkaiba nila with regards to Quadcom. And honestly, right now, I think okay na tayo with the Senate hearing. And besides, the other Senate hearings they're all clowns. It's all a circus show. Anyway, we all know that. What is the point? Tignan mo hindi na nila tinuloy yung follow-up na sinabi ni Senator Pimentel na tutuloy nilang hearing on the EJ case and the drug war. Ano na nangyari? Wala na. Hindi na nila itutuloy yan because they don't know where it's going anyway. They never had the right objectives to begin with. Alam mo I've said this over and over. Pakinggan mo yung sinabi ni Senator Pimentel on his opening statement of this hearing they're doing on EJ case and the drug war. They were not looking to find the truth on what really happened. They're looking just to be able to ask lang daw or to find out lang daw about EJ case and hear people's sides. That's it. Wala. There was no true objective. Kaya ngayon, wala na. Nakuha na ni Digong yung gusto niya, wala na. Hindi na tutuloy. Gagawa ba ng legislation? No, they're not. Senator Pimentel? Hell no. He doesn't have the balls to do it. He never did. So that's my take on Senate compared to Congress. What's your take on it?
No, I'm glad that actually Riza was the last woman standing because it just reminded everyone sila lang totoo. I rather
Yes.
have my pulse there. So I think she closed it on a strong note and nagkaalaman na kung sinong totoo at hindi. So if she runs for a higher office, which is almost certain, come 2028, may kredibilidad siya. And pwede niya balikan yung moment niyan. When everyone was leaving because there was no more rating, I was the one there and I carried it across the line. That's what leadership is all about. So I'm actually happy that yun ang nangyari and the contrast and juxtaposition. Last point lang, brother. Meron ba tayong update sa Pogo ban? Because I think, di ba si Casio natanggal? Yung parating interview ni Christian. Ay, Christian.
Yeah.
Every time binuksan ko YouTube ko, ayan na naman si Casio, saan si Seiko, di ba? Like, syempre, ayan na naman si Casio, Seiko. Natanggal na siya! Ano nangyari?
Yeah, ang alam ko is that they're all being charged na. There are charges filed against them. They're all now arrested. They're incarcerated while they're going to be facing trial. So the NBI has done their job, and now the DOJ, everyone, the full force of the law is on them. Ang problem lang right now natin with the Pogos is that marami ngayon nag-splinter into smaller Pogos that's hiding within mga parang what do you call those? Yung mga call centers, yung ganon, nag-hide within those ganong klaseng mga organizations. So, but the good thing is the PAOK has not stopped in terms of being able to go after all these illegal pogos. Pero maliliit na lang sila. And alam mo, I mean, we all felt it. Talagang my God talaga nung na-announce tong ban na to tapos nagbigay ng deadline. I mean, I saw the exodus of the Chinese. Absolutely. I saw it on every angle possible, online and in person. I'm so happy on Shaw Boulevard. Wala na ako nakikita mga mainland Chinese na mga gangsters na pumapaligid dyan na nagte-terrorize ang ating mga kababayan.
That Not racist note, because you're a Chinoy. On that very para sa bayan, rule of law note. Kasi alam mo naman yung mga DDS, you just say something on China, oh, racist ka. Parang, ha? Ano kinalaman niya sa racist? Thank
Exactly.
you, brother. That was a wonderful conversation. I think I think I'm generally happy with the direction of things despite everything I'm saying. Ako naman, I always feel we can always do better. And at
Yep.
the same time, always looking 2, 3 steps ahead. Kasi hindi pwedeng ano ka lang humahabol ka lang eh. So I'm glad that because of itong conversations natin, daming lumalabas, no? Daming angles and all. And I'm glad that maraming nag-appreciate dito sa mga usapan natin dahil dito sa mga usapin politika talaga natin, di ba? We're looking at all angles, possibilities, and at the same time, para sa bayan talaga ito. This is not
I
for any political side.
I have one question, Richard, before we go, is this, tinatanong ng mga tao, what about Senator Gatchalian? What's your take on him? Kasi nga, di ba, like, he was, celebrated during the Pogo hearings, na parang, wow, yung tandem niya ni Risa, and then, naban ng Pogo because of their work, tandem sila eh. And look at where he is. And what's your take on it? That, yun na nga, na lumalabas ka, that he was one of the biggest campaign donors for Sara Duterte, and now he's making the pronouncements that tataasan yung budget ni VP Sara. Ikaw, ano? Because I'm confused with this guy. I'm wondering, what is the deal with him? What's your
Yeah, I
take?
mean, honestly, we're Instagram friends. We're friends. I mean, I had him a couple of times, but um, yun nga eh. Makita na uh, the ties that bind. Actually, I think to be technically correct, I mean chronologically correct, I think yung issue nung kotse, yung Senate car,
Yes.
na andun allegedly yung daddy niya, I think doon nagsimula na medyo naglaylo siya. And at the same time, of course, na-implicate din siya doon sa mga iba na pushing for higher budget. And then, nilabas ulit ng media yung mga top donors na, but not as big as Harry Roque's
All
contribution. Si
right.
Harry, galing talaga niya. I mean, how many ex-human rights lawyer nakita mo na kaya nilang mag-million, actually tens of millions ba?
32 million,
32,
if I
yes, like,
remember correctly.
diba? So, ilan renminbi yan?
Yep.
Divided by 8. Diba? Anyway, wala akong sinasabi. I'm just looking at currency exchange. I'm a geek for
Well,
currency exchange.
just to give you an idea, no, if somebody
Okay
was
lang, bro.
able to give 30 million in campaign donations, they have to be worth at least a billion. A billion, okay? Kasi kung hindi ka worth 1 billion pesos, masakit ang 30 million pesos na ibibigay mo lang para kampanya. Kahit mga bilyonaryo, hindi
Actually,
magbibigay
billion
ng
din.
30
That's
million.
3% of your wealth. That's still a
Yeah.
lot.
That's still a lot. Exactly.
You have to
That's
be
see.
multi-billion.
Yeah, see how you computed it. It's still a lot. Kaya I'm giving you,
3% is
that's
a
the
lot, brother.
baseline. 1 billion minimum. Kaya talagang nagtataka ka kung talagang pera ba to ni
Wala tayong sinasabi,
Roque?
Wala tayong sinasabi.
No, di ba?
The
It
manhunt is ongoing, so we don't want to prejudice the process. On that note, thank you very much, brother. I'm glad na kahit papaano natutuloy-tuloy natin. I think people always look forward to
yes.
starting the week dun sa Usapang Politika, R meets C. Booyakasha Palahura Podcast. See you soon, brother. Talk to you soon. Next
Take
week,
care.
hopefully, in person na tayo. I'll be out of town lang, but next week, God willing, let's do in person again with sila Mark RRM. Sa
Love it.
Paris, si Monsieur Ronald Eliamas, si Monsieur. Hopefully, when he's also back, we can all gather together. Salamat,
All
bro, and
right.
forward to you.
Good night.
Booyakasha.